Alright you guys, we have something really interesting to talk about in today's video. So, in the most recent SBS 105, Oda revealed Zoro's family tree. Zoro's lineage has been plaguing the fanbase for decades, but once we hit Wano a couple years ago, a lot of people were expecting to get these answers finally revealed to us. Who's Zoro's dad? Who's his mom? Who's his grandfather? Is he related to Ryuma? Well, it turns out Oda decided to reveal everything to us in this most recent SBS. Alright, so right here I should have pulled up a really bad Photoshop job I did myself, which translates the big information from the SBS. We have Zoro's grandma, grandpa, father, and mother's names being revealed. First up, we have the grandma. This is where it all starts. We have the big kabam with Zoro's grandma, and she has the name Shimotsuki Ushimaru. So, right away, Oda decides to drop a massive bomb confirming that Zoro does indeed have that Shimotsuki lineage within him, which explains why he looks so dang similar to Ushimaru, the guy in Yamato's flashback. Because Oda goes an extra step and reveals to us, he confirms that Furiko is indeed the older sister of Ushimaru. A fun fact that Oda decides to leave to us about Pinzoro, Zoro's grandpa, is that he was also a swordsman, which makes a lot of sense, right? Zoro is named after Pinzoro, they're both swordsmen, so the apple doesn't fall too far from the tree. So now, moving on, we learn that Pinzoro and Furiko have a son by the name Roanoa Arashi, which is in fact Zoro's father. And we learn that Zoro's father is actually dead, confirmed dead, and he died to pirates. Which does make me wonder if Zoro knows about his parents and how they died. Because if he knew that his dad died to pirates, then it only makes sense that once he leaves Shimotsuki village, he becomes a bounty hunter and becomes known as Pirate Hunter Roanoa Zoro, to avenge his father in a way. Alright, so the next person we learn about is Zoro's mother, who is named Terra, and we don't really have too much information about her. We don't even have a last name from her. All we know is that she was a criminal's daughter, and that she's also confirmed to be dead due to an illness. Okay, so this could be a really small and nuanced point to talk about, but I am really curious as to why Oda went out of his way to distinguish that Zoro's mom was the daughter of a criminal. With that kind of distinction, it really makes me wonder if by some point in the series, we might meet someone who actually knew Zoro's mother in the black market or underworld. Alright, and now onto the final person from the Roanoa bloodline, and we have our OG character Zoro himself, and it is confirmed that because of the Shimotsuki ties he has, he is carrying on the bloodline of Ryuma, the Sword God. Which, now that this is confirmed to be the case, it does make the battle between Zoro and Ryuma back on Thriller Bark that much more poetic. Honestly, this is really crazy information that Oda is just dropping on a whim on an SBS. And here's the thing, now that we're revealed to Zoro's mom, dad, grandma, and grandpa, I am curious if we will see that in the story. Will we have some character that's like, hey Zoro, by the way, I knew your grandfather Pinzoro, or I knew your mother Terra. Will that happen? What do you guys think? Yes or no? Or here's an even better question. Do you guys think Zoro will ever learn that he has a little bit of Shimotsuki blood within him? Because to us, the fan base, it is huge that he is related to the Sword God. But for Zoro, this won't really change all too much for him. He never really showed too much of an interest in his family, so maybe the story was just set for Zoro to never learn this information in the first place. Alright, so since we are on the topic of SBS, we might as well go through some more information we learned in 105. We learned a little bit more about Kuina's family tree, which isn't exactly the newest of information, but we do have a little bit of a timeline here, and there is one small thing I do want to talk about with this. So we learned that Kozaburo is indeed Kuina's grandpa, as we all kind of already knew. We learned that he created Enma, nothing surprising there, but the big thing is that 55 years ago, we learned that Kozaburo left Wano with 25 people. One of them being Zoro's grandma. And then, 52 years later, they ended up in the East Blue. 10 of the crew members settled in the village, which then became Shimotsuki Village. But that means that 15 citizens of Wano did not settle on Shimotsuki Village. They left and went to other places, which is pretty big when you think about it, because this leaves 15 citizens of Wano wandering the East Blue. At some point, they must have settled. And with that being the case, I want to bring into question Tashigi. A lot of people have been saying, oh, she looks very much like Kuina. You know, is there perhaps something there? Is she a clone of Kuina? Maybe Kuina survived the staircase accident? Well, what if Tashigi actually has a little bit of Shimotsuki blood within her? Or maybe not even Shimotsuki, maybe she just has Wano blood within her. There is that possibility, and I just wanted to throw that out there because Oda wouldn't say, hey, by the way, 10 people established this village, and then the other people, yeah, they kind of just left and, you know, we don't talk about those guys. So at some point, I feel like the 15 citizens of Wano who didn't settle on Shimotsuki Village will come back into play somehow. So moving on with the SBS, since we are on the topic of lineage and Wano and family trees, Oda decides to go all in and talk about a popular theory that has been floating around the community, and that is Tama. A lot of people saw Tama's parents die, and we saw their gravestone, and it looked very similar to the kanji for the Kurozumi clan. Well, somebody was wondering about this, and they actually asked Oda. The reader's question and theory to Oda says you can see the word Kurozumi on the gravestone of Tama's parents here. Tama was born in the same clan as Orochi, who followed the path of revenge because of the discrimination towards the Kurozumi. Does this depict the hope for the future, just like Koala contrasting Horty Jones? And Oda says, so you notice that small detail, huh? I will say this here. Tama's real name is Kurozumi Tama, but should she be hated? In the last scene, Hiyori clearly said the Kurozumi was born to burn. Was Tama also being addressed here? No, she's not. If you look at her in the story, you will understand that Hiyori was only referring to Orochi. I wonder how everyone present will react if they find out that Tama is from the Kurozumi family. In the past, and even now in the present, this is still a big problem for our current society. Bro, Oda is going in on these SBSs. He's dropping straight life lessons right now, and it does make a lot of sense, and it does show us that family trees, while they're cool, they don't really matter. It doesn't change who the character is fundamentally. Now that we know that Tama is indeed a Kurozumi, we're not gonna go back and just beat her up because she's related to Orochi. No, she chose a different path. She's a good person. And I love the message here. So now, on to one of the last things about this SBS, still Wano related. The question presented to Oda says, "Good day, I really love One Piece, and I've heard Wano has ended. Because it's so sad that the people in Wano that failed to eat devil fruits are still laughing, can you make Chopper heal them before they depart? It's so sad to see Killer always laughing too. I hope you well, Oda. From Hiromi." And Oda says, "Hello, thank you for the message. It's very sad for a kid to keep laughing even if their parents died, right? But unfortunately, Chopper didn't have the ability to make that kind of drug. In this world, there's something that you can't do anything about, and this story is one of that case. But I'm laughing because Killer keeps laughing, and it made the whole kid crew decide to become a joyful pirate band. It's so nice that there's joyful people even in hard situations. I believe in the strength of the people from Wano." So now that we know for a fact that the people of Ebisu Town are indeed still laughing to this day, I am wondering if we will ever find a cure for them, whether it's Chopper coming back at a later date, maybe it is Vegapunk, or perhaps a third party. Do you guys think these citizens will ever find the cure? But also, to play devil's advocate though, maybe Oda himself views this in a different light, because like he says at the end of it, he says, "I believe in the strength of the people from Wano." So maybe he sees them laughing and says, well, it's bad, but it's not the worst thing that could happen to the citizens. So yeah, maybe there is some weird gray area where this just actually never gets cured. Woo, and that is SBS 105. Thank you guys for coming in. Please consider liking, commenting, and subbing down below. And also thank you to the channel members and Patreon members here on the side. You guys are the freaking best. And let me know what you guys think about Zoro's lineage, Tama, and the Smile situation. See you guys next time. Peace.